Hey everyone, and welcome. I'm coming to you today from the Ice Palace. The heater in my house is still not fixed and it is still freezing. So I'm in here in my bedroom and I'm hating the lights and I don't like the setup, but here we are. All right, so what are we talking about today? We are talking about buying, selling AdSense businesses. Specifically, I just wanted to touch on 4 or 5 things that I wish that I would have known before I bought my first AdSense business earlier this year from Empire Flippers. Some of these things you may know, some of these things you may go, yeah, I guess that makes sense, but I never really thought about it. And from the research that I've done, checking the Google AdSense support forums and looking at the articles out there, I think that there are a lot of people who are coming to the idea of buying an AdSense business without knowing these things. And I can also attest to the fact that I didn't know them when I did it. And so this is my chance or my hope that I can pass on some information to you that I wish that I would have known. So first, I've talked about this on the channel before, but if you are planning on buying an AdSense monetized business, you have to have your own AdSense account. You cannot apply to get an AdSense account with the business, with the website that you are buying. I don't want to spend this whole video talking about how to get an AdSense account, so I'm just going to put a card up there in the top. This is a link to my playlist about all of my Google AdSense videos, and in there I have at least 2 or 3 videos that talks about how to get an AdSense account. If you are someone who is selling your AdSense monetized website, it's really important that you check from the very beginning or have it listed on your site or something that you're vetting potential buyers to make sure that they have an AdSense account. Because if you are working with someone who is a beginner, they may not know this, and this could throw a wrench into your deal later on when they try to back out of it because they didn't realize that they needed their own AdSense account. Or they may decide in the middle of the transaction that they want to go and start with the process to get their own account. They may not be able to get an account, or it may take them several weeks or even months to do, and then you're left hanging there, wanting to close the sale, but being unable to because the person that you've entered into an agreement with is holding it up because of their AdSense account status. I definitely don't recommend that anyone go and try to purchase an AdSense account. You just can't transfer them. Transferring Google AdSense accounts is prohibited by the terms of service as far as I understand. If you get caught doing it, it could potentially risk your Google account and your ability to have an AdSense account potentially in perpetuity. I suppose a creative thing you could do as a seller to attract newbies or beginners to AdSense businesses or people who don't already have their own AdSense account is to create a separate website. Go in on a cheap domain, on cheap hosting, and then create the content for it. What somebody who is trying to get an account in a hurry would need, but then not submit it for approval to AdSense. If you know enough to get an AdSense account already, you have a pretty good idea of what needs to be done in order to make this happen. And so potentially this is something you could sell as an asset along with the website that you were selling so that you could get that buyer who really wants to have an AdSense account but doesn't have their own account and doesn't have the ability to go out and do the work or pay the money to get it. It's just another potential asset that could be transferred with the main earning website. The second thing that I wish that I would have known before I went through the process of buying an AdSense site is that just because a site was approved for AdSense previously does not mean that it will get approved during migration. All the details about AdSense and AdSense accounts are continually changing. And I know this to be a fact because I bought a package from Empire Flippers that had a handful of sites that were monetized with AdSense, and all of those sites, 4 of the sites were approved and monetized and earning money with AdSense, but only 3 of them were able to get through the migrations process to get approved again when I submitted them for approval through my account. So you as the seller, you may think that you have a great asset that is earning that will be easy peasy approved during migrations, but that might not happen. And you as the buyer, you also need to know potentially that the site might not get approved through migrations. It doesn't mean necessarily that the sale isn't going to happen, that there isn't value in a site that has tons of traffic, but if you as a buyer, the only thing you want the website for is for it to be monetized with AdSense, I'd really recommend that you write something into the agreement about being able to break off the contract in the event that the site cannot be approved during migration, because otherwise you could be left with a site that can't be monetized with AdSense, period, maybe ever. Next, the site may never earn what it earned for the seller. When you migrate a site, it goes to a new AdSense account, there are a lot of things that may be different about getting the ad blocks in on that particular site. For someone with a new account, the ad blocks that were previously placed on the website may not be available to you. And so potentially the highest earning ad units that potentially, made the seller thousands of dollars may not even be an option for you. And this actually happened to me. So I know that to be true, because oftentimes when you start a new AdSense account, you don't have access to matched content or to link units. And for me, in my experience, the highest earning ad units for the sites that I bought were the link ad units, and I didn't even have access to them. It's not uncommon for ad units to take some time to reach their real potential as far as earning. Next, I think everybody needs to know that during migrations for an AdSense site that there is just going to be earnings that are going to be lost. To make the transition during migrations, the seller is going to have to remove the site from their account, and they're going to have to remove the ad units and all the code from the site before the buyer can then request that AdSense review the site for approval. During that time, there will obviously be no ads on the site, no one clicking on the ads, and no revenue. And no one really knows how long it will take for Google to review the site for approval. Sometimes that can happen within 24 hours, and sometimes it could take weeks, even during migrations for a site that has already been approved by Google AdSense before. I'm sure there's more out there that I wish that I had known that I didn't know, but this is what I wanted to share today, so that hopefully if you are headed into this, that you at least know these bare bones things. Are you looking to buy an AdSense website? If so, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear what it is that you're looking at and what your timeline is and what questions you have about the process. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one.